Hello crafty friends, I'm Lean from Studio Kato and I'm so happy to be back with another video. This is part of a Jane's Doodles blog hop for the new release. All of the links I will be talking about today will be listed in the description below, along with all of the products I am using, which is not a ton for this card. Now I'm starting off with the new Sleepy Fox stamp set by Jane's Doodles, and I'm stamping the main image or one of the fox images, but this is a little scene, so you don't really need much apart from this one stamp. There are also individual foxes and some scene elements like toadstools and pumpkins. It's a very beautiful fall set and I am in love with it. I can't wait to create more cards with this. Now, as I started saying, I am stamping this on watercolor cardstock with Versafine Onyx black ink. I am using Canson Montval 200 GSM watercolor cardstock, and I'm stamping this image a couple of times because I just didn't get a good impression on the watercolor cardstock the first couple of times. Now I am also adding some clear gloss superfine embossing powder by Wow and heat setting that. This is a beautiful effect. I love heat embossing. I do it all the time, but for watercolor especially, it's very helpful as well. Because the heat embossing raises the outline a little bit, you won't get, or you won't color outside of the lines as easily as usual. I still color outside of the lines plenty, but yeah, it helps to prevent it a little bit. Now I am using very muted colors. The fox looks very bright for now, but I am going to mute it down with layering on some shading as well. Now I do this all the time when watercoloring. I work in layers. That's the best way I found to intensify the colors and to also intensify the shadow. Because when you're coloring, if you really want to get depth and a beautiful coloring, I find that it's best to create as much contrast as possible between the light areas and the dark areas. So the darker your shadows are and the lighter your highlights are, the more contrast you have and the more alive your image looks. So I also added a couple of super thin brush strokes to the fox to give the idea of fur. That's a really easy way to add a little bit of detail in an image. And then I am also using some muted colors to finish the rest of the scene. Now the way to get muted colors is with watercolors is to just pick your main color, the color you want to mute down, and then pick its opposite. So if you're wanting to make a muted red, take your red and add a little bit of green to it. Depending on the red, you have to adjust your green as well. So if you're taking a more pinkish red, you want to take a more yellowish green, and if you take a more true red, you want to take more blue-green. So it's very easy when you look at the color wheel. So if you're not sure about which colors to mix together, just look at your color wheel and that should help you out. Now for the background, I am keeping things super simple. I want a very clean card apart from the image. So I am using some champagne foil from Spellbinders, and I am foiling that on with the, what's this called? It's the Simple Stripes foil plate from the Stamp Market, I think. And it is really, really pretty. It's just, like the name suggests, some simple stripes, but it does a lot to add to the card, especially when you're using some glimmer. Now you can see I add some overfoiling there on the edges. It's very easy to have overfoiling with a foil plate like this because there's large open areas, and especially on the sides you're going to see that you get overfoiling. It's almost unavoidable, but it's very easy to get rid of that with a sand eraser or even a regular eraser. Depends on how bad it is. But it was very easy to get rid of it, and I am also going to foil the sentiment for this card. Now the stamp set does include some very beautiful sentiments, but I just wanted to add more foil to this, so I thought this would be a great addition. And this foil plate sentiment is from the Glimmering Autumn Woods by Spellbinders. It was a foil or a glimmer kit of the month last year, I think. I didn't get it then because I didn't have a hot foil plate, but it's still available and I think it was on sale when I got it. Maybe it still is. I will leave it linked in the description below. Now I'm using the same champagne hot foil to foil that, so it just coordinates nicely with the background that way, and trying to not use a ton of colors is also a great way to keep things a little bit more casual for your clean and simple cards. So I just make sure the sentiment plate is where I want it to be. I adhere it down with some washi tape. I prefer using washi tape for working with foil instead of purple tape like I usually do, because washi tape is not as strong, and that means that it won't stick to your foil as harshly either, and it won't damage your foil. So that's why I prefer using washi tape for this. You just slide the foil under then, pretty side up, facing your foil plate, and then you can heat it with the Glimmer heating machine, the Glimmer machine from Spellbinders. All that's left to do is adhere that foiled background to my card base and then adhere the watercolored fox scene onto my card, and I love it. I use some foam tape to prop it up, and since it's the only image on my card, I thought propping it up would add some dimension and some interest to it. It's a great way to step up your cards. I tried to add embellishments to this, but ultimately I just wanted to keep it as simple as possible. Now, I also made some more cards with the second stamp set that is releasing today. This is the Greetings stamp set by Jane's Doodles, and I made 2 cards over on the Jane's Doodles YouTube channel. That will also be linked in the description below. Make sure you check that out because I loved making those cards, and it's a great stamp set as well. It's very, very unique and I love it. And as I mentioned at the start of this video is part of a blog hop. I will link to my blog post for the hop in the description below, and you can hop along from there. So what you'll see is all the projects the designers have created with this. The design team of Jane's Doodles came together with a couple of guests, very exciting guests. So make sure you check it out to get all of the inspiration to create with these new stamp sets. I will also link to the Jane's Doodles store, so check out new release. I am loving it, and I am still making cards with these stamp set, so I hope you check it out and get yourself a little treat. Why not? Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.